backfield. Bills have it after a Jets. First and 10, that's deflected. And picked off Mosley. He'll take it in.
Now, stiff arm, and he throws down the defender.
Stiff arms a crap out of Drake Kirkpatrick right there.
Going down again. It's Q. Ren Williams.
Fighting through contact, fighting through offensive line, being double team, multiple moves stacked into one. Just a play of pure domination. This is actual film. This is actual football talk. It's a football show. We're supposed to talk football, not storylines. And you are listening to the 8th edition. I think it is the 8th. Yeah, the 8th edition of Blewett's Blitz. Today I have 28 plays of CeeDee Lamb to break down, rounding out my last 4 prospects we have. So, or I have, like I said, with Lamb coming today, Judy, I'm going to do it on Tuesday, and then Ruggs I'm going to do on Thursday, and Chase on Saturday. So 4 more guys coming your way. Should be fun. A little bit of a change up for me. We're doing a lot of offensive line stuff, just a lot of offensive line stuff. So it's always fun to change it up a little bit, especially with receivers and corners. It's a position I really do enjoy breaking down. So like I said, 28 plays of Lamb. The normal housekeeping, JoRB31 on Twitter just posted up Judy there. I have Ruggs ready for the most part. The article already done for Jets X Factor. It's not up yet. Just got to post some stuff to Twitter there. So follow me there, interact with me, whatever. Always check out jetsxfactor.com. That's where you get literally it's like PFF for the Jets, and like a film breakdown site all in one for $6 a month, $50 a year. If it's too much, I get it. But if you're really into football and you're trying to learn more about the prospects and learn more about the teams, you actually know what you're talking about. It's the most like analytical, fact-driven site out there. There's not a lot of opinions out there. Geez, I couldn't get that word out. So check it out for sure. As you know, if you're just checking out this, that's fine. Blewett's Blitz on the podcast app, Blewett's Blitz on YouTube, which most of you are most likely watching at. We got another another 5-star rating. We'd have never gotten a 1-star actually. I got a 5-star with a really good review, and I said something to piss the guy off, I guess, and he went back and changed his review to a 1-star. So it's a really good review with a 1-star rating, which is it is what it is. We're having a mailbag too after all those shows. I told people last week. I tweeted out a couple times. People haven't been asked as usual. I've gotten mailbags like 30 or 35 questions. People are a little bit more tentative this time, I guess, with mailbag questions. But like I said, go to my Twitter and find the tweet where I'm asking the mailbag, or just tweet me for the mailbag, or tweet Blewett's Blitz for the mailbag, my other Twitter, which is like kind of just for the show. And then we'll answer it. Literally ask anything. Like somebody asked us about 3-4 versus 4-3 for the Jets and who's deal in those spots. Somebody asked me how I got into football. I don't care if you guys ask about football, the draft, free agency. You can ask us ketchup or mustard on hot dogs, or a freaking favorite TV show, like anything to have some fun before the draft. It'll be like a little bit of a more lighthearted show. So that'll be fun. I'm doing that with Kyle Smith next Monday. So you have like a week to send in questions. You could tweet at me, like I said, JoRB31, or you could tweet at Blewett's Blitz, or just BLEWETTBLITZ. That's like the secondary account. And then, or you can email me. I figured out my Jets X Factor email. It's just Joe, J-O-E, period, Blewett, BLEWETT, with no spaces, at jetsxfactor.com. You can email me there too. Any questions you want to ask. And even if you don't want to be on the mailbag, you just want to ask a question about football, and you're specific that you don't want to be on the show, you can ask. That's completely fine with me. So the draft is coming in 12 days, I think. 12 days. So a lot to get through. I'm excited to get these 4 shows done. My 2 more reviews on Twitter, and I'm actually going to dive back into free agency. So I'm going to go back into finishing up my Desir review, finishing up my Van Roten review. And I think that's only really the 2 I'm doing, unless they sign any other, good solid role players. Like, I don't think I'm going to do Josh Andrews, because he shouldn't ever see the field, and people won't care about it. But if they sign like another potential starter, guys who can compete for a job, an outside linebacker, a corner, whatever it may be, I'll look at their film. But to get into CeeDee Lamb and his strengths and weaknesses, like I said, with Lyman, it's one, I'm getting limited film, And it's also from not the best views of telling the defense they're facing. You don't get the end zone view. Like there's a lot that I'm not getting, but 6'2", 198, 4'5", 40. I watched Texas, Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Baylor, Kansas, LSU, and South Dakota are the games I watched. There's a couple that are missing there. Like I said, I don't have access to all 22 college film. The strengths that I listed: extreme yak ability, offers alter speed in routes, vertical, or just his vertical jump, good hands, body control, vision, awareness, ability to track ball, works as a blocker, makes tough catches, not afraid to get hit over middle, contact balance, shows ability to get off press, quick feet, shows some variety in releases, rockers, short strides, split releases, pressure steps, I said rockers twice. No, rockers, dead legs, etc. Works route stems at times. You'll see some examples where I think he needs to work his route stems more specifically against off coverage. And I put willing blocker, so I put that in there twice. I gotta proofread some of my stuff, but I just try to pump out the film. Who cares if I put it twice? Weaknesses: thin build. I think for him being 6'2", 198, he's a little bit thin, to be completely honest, and that's why. And I'll show it. I don't get the DeAndre Hopkins comparison. Maybe it's because people watch highlights and he makes a circus catch or two, and that's what DeAndre Hopkins does. But I don't see him being able to box guys out like DeAndre Hopkins, or hold his line like DeAndre Hopkins, or box him out the top of the route, or any of that stuff. I don't see him having the size to do so. So is it because he has like dreads and he makes some tough catches with good hands? Like I don't know. I don't see the DeAndre Hopkins comparison. Just recorded a show, which you'll be hearing on Play Like a Jet soon with Scott Mason, where we wrapped up the 3 receivers and I talked about them each a little bit briefly. And Judy, like I kind of said, like, okay, like the Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs type of guy. And I think Ruggs is maybe like a Deshaun Jackson at his peak, like a guy who runs a little bit better routes than people think he does, primarily a deep threat, but can also be a punt returner and who can also take a bubble screen to the house. So he has some versatility. So I think that's a kind of a good comparison, I guess. But for Lamb, I really don't have a good player comparison because I don't know like what other top flight guy plays exactly like he does. Not exactly like he does, because I don't necessarily like doing player comparisons regardless, but there's nobody I can really even kind of get on the same spectrum of player that's a top player. So it's kind of hard to do. So I kind of bailed on the questions that I rejected. I'm not doing it. So, but his weaknesses: thin build, didn't see much work against aggressive press, which he's going to see in the NFL, and he didn't see much work against it. So that's a concern of mine. Routes need a work overall. Some wasted steps in routes, deep speed, needs to set up corners and off coverage better. Saw a lot of open space in college. Saw him get frustrated with lack of targets, which is something I'll note down if he's throwing his hands up or putting his head down or doing whatever with a lack of targets or inaccurate throw. It's something you want to note down. He had some drops. I think his hands are, quite frankly, a little bit overrated. There were times where he would drop a ball that was right in his chest, focus drop, whatever it may be, but he has good hands and like enough to do like a circus catch or two, but he also will drop an easy ball. So it's not like he has hands like Larry Fitzgerald, where Larry Fitzgerald has like 1 or 2 drops a year. There were some years I'm pretty sure we actually had 0. So he doesn't have those type of hands. Needs to be more ready at snap, which I believe I'll show. And and I put this, not a weakness necessarily, but I believe his contested catch ability is overrated, which I find true. I'm not just going to agree with the consensus. I'm going to go by what I see. So that wraps up his strengths and weaknesses. Let me pause it and bring up the plays. All right. First play here, we have Lamb to the bottom. And in terms of like his fit for the Jets offense and what each offers, they're all different. They'd all be different fits. He's more of like, he's a yak guy, more of like a possession receiver. I think in terms of helping Sam Darnold out in the red zone, he'd be the best option because, yeah, like I said, I think he's a little bit overrated in terms of him being DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think he's that. But I still think in terms of getting a jump ball out of these top 3 receivers, he's the best option. So in this area of the field, 20 inside, that red zone, I think he's probably the best option in that aspect. I think Judy, because of his route running, the Jets are horizontal spacing, West Coasty type of offense where timing matters. Their routes are, linked up with the drops, the reads, etc. And then you have Ruggs, he's a deep threat, primarily. He can do some yak too. Like if you get him on an orbit motion, hit him for a screen, bubble screen, smoke screen, shield screen, whatever it is. He's a guy who could bring the football to the house. So he's different than Robbie Anderson like that, where people just think, oh, speed is speed. No, he has contact balance. He could find lanes. He can make quick cuts, where Robbie Anderson really had straight line speed. It wasn't overall agility that a Ruggs has. So Ruggs can be a little bit he could be multidimensional too, and having a guy like Ruggs, and regardless if they're going to be the best receivers or not, as a defensive coordinator looking at the Jets before you play them, having Ruggs and Perryman on the same team, that'll be concerning. Obviously, now with that being said, if I'm the Jets, I'm still taking an offensive lineman at 11, and I like these guys, but if you don't have time to throw the ball, how effective are receivers? The trenches are where you win. Obviously quarterback, the entirety of the offensive line. I think every position is important. You can get away with a weak link or an average guy or two, but you want 3+ starters on an offensive line. And right now the Jets have one. So you're going to pass some of these guys to hope Lucas Niang or Austin Jackson's available in round 2, who might not be able to start their first year, to put on the offensive line. So I think you add an offensive lineman, you have 2 hopefully plus starters in McGovern, and whoever it may be to pick at 11. Hopefully Doga develops. So, I'm still going offensive lineman, but let's look at Lamb on the bottom. Okay, comes off the ball. You have man coverage. You have man coverage on the bottom. The corner has inside leverage. Releases off the ball, short strides him. Short strides, these are choppy, and this is really just it's to close ground, it's to get on his toes, it's to allow a break in either way, it's to confuse his eyes if he's looking low and he sees all those choppy steps. It's not going to be as easy if he's taking long steps and you can kind of guess where he's going to go. So I call that a short stride. Breaks off his right foot. The corner keeps backing up here, which is like, this is not good corner play. Like, if you are going to back up, you have to get your hands on. But in the NFL, if this guy's playing in the NFL and you're going to back up and give them a free release every time, you're going to get screwed. Like, you could play soft shoe, take a step or two backwards, inch back a little bit. But once he gets closes that ground, either punch him or be reading his hips where you're going to be able to open up and stay over top. But this corner really does nothing. So regardless, he has been short strides, plants hard to the right foot. Could probably be a little bit more explosive on that foot right there, but it's not a terrible break. And he's open on the fade. He doesn't get hit there though, so just want to point that out. All right, play 2, yak. There's a lot of, and I'll show it to you. There's a lot of yak that he gets in his game that looks, and in my opinion, like I said, I'm going to be honest with my player reviews, it looks great. When you're watching on a broadcast, you're not really thinking about too much like what he'll translate into. Will some of this work in the NFL against guys who are much more disciplined and better tacklers? For the most part, I don't know, to be completely honest. Like, he has good balance, stuff like that, versus bad tackles and arm tackles. But a guy is form tackling him. I will see. It's funny too. I think somebody saw this play like, oh, why can't the Jets ever run a play like this? I think, didn't they run like almost the same exact play versus the Raiders with Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold underthrew him? I think that was a Raiders game. I forget if it was an orbital motion flea. I know it was a flea flicker, and they hit him up the right sideline. So this might have been like an identical play, by the way. So he comes from the top of the screen right here in this orbit motion, fake handoff to the running back, or they hand off to the running back. Flea flicker pitches it back. He's coming up the sideline right here, throws the ball. Now he has great like awareness of his lanes and things like that. But again, it's hard to get a ton of yak in the NFL, even though it's easier than it is today than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, because they had more practice. They can tackle more. They can work on their tackling more, where now you have less practice time. So it's more about schemes and techniques than it is the basics of tackling. Like, you don't learn tackling from what you hear from NFL players like you used to back in the day. So, but it's still overall better. So catches the ball. He knows there's going to be a guy over top, cuts inside. He's going to notice in his peripheral vision that this guy's coming from the inside. He's going to drop his weight, jump cut inside of him. He comes sliding by, which again, not the best angle. You'll want to see him little bit more prepared for that cut. It doesn't look like he's running with his knees over his or his shoulders over his knees. So he's not even in full sprint right here. So he gets his ankles broken. Then looks inside, sees another guy inside, cuts back upfield. See this guy's hips open outside or open inside. So for him to catch back up, he's going to have to either speed turn or flip his hips quickly to get back out on CeeDee Lamb. So then he bursts to the outside, ducks through an arm tackle, and is able to get up the sideline for a touchdown. So does this happen in the NFL? Does this part happen? Sure. This guy might hit him. If not, might tackle him. If not, he's probably going to hit him even better than that. And then this guy is going to have his hips a lot more square here and most likely tackle him here. Like here he's done. This guy is going to put his head like, in the NFL. This is a situation, if you're a linebacker in pursuit, you want this guy cutting back like this. That reminds me, didn't Brandon Cooks get laid out like that? Like he didn't see a guy behind him and got dropped. Like he sees him here and he drops his shoulder. So good job dropping his shoulder, dropping his center of gravity and powering through. I also like this part. I also like here, as he's going through that tackle, he puts two hands on the ball. So it's like a little thing, but good job putting two hands on the ball right there, just in case he tries to punch the ball out, ducks through that, and then he beats this guy to the outside. So good job. Great job. It's just going to be different. You're not going to get that on a lot of plays in the NFL. Play 3. Pressure step. All right, yeah. Okay, so he's on the top of the screen right here, corner and soft press, we'll call it, 2 yards off, which I don't love. Kind of no man's land. Not really going to be able to affect him in many ways. So stems him inside, but then obviously he's not running full speed right there. It's like an altered speed. And it's really just to keep the corner square and kind of with his feet flat. So he stems inside. Pressure step. So if you're usually you'll see guys like, okay, if this guy was running a post, he's gonna attack the DB's leverage, take one step upfield and towards them, and that kind of gets their hips to either freeze or turn the opposite way, and then you continue on your route. And that's what I call a pressure step. And then there's jerk steps, which is the same thing, but then you throw a rocker step in at the top too, so they think you're doing it to them again, and you completely destroy them if you really set them up well. So stems inside with the altered route speed. Pressure step right towards him, so you can see how he's fighting to stay inside the corner, pressure step, and his feet freeze. It's exactly what it's supposed to do. So it gives him the pressure step towards him, breaks off of it, and continues inside, defeats the hands. Now there is a safety over top. I don't know if they're bracketing him or if they're just truly double teaming him. So he doesn't get targeted here, but still really good job with that. And I'll show it in full speed. But you can see the altered route stem right here. Slow, pressure step, boom, accelerate. And he's open. If he hits him, right here, if he hits him, leading him on that inside hip and maybe a little bit low to keep him away from some of that, from the hit of the safety, but good stem right there. Play 4. All right. Slot. Let's see. What do I dig? Attack, football, yak. All right. I'm going to have the opposite view of this too. Okay. So, again, it's hard to tell if they're in man or if it's a combo coverage where it's some man, some zone. Man. I'm gonna call it man. I'm gonna call it man because it looks like you have cover 1, man, and then you have 2 linebackers right here who are gonna have the tight end and the running back. These guys, whatever it may be. So it might be like a cover 1 hole. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's man coverage. All right. So he stems. So the stem is good. I like the stem. This guy, he identifies the man coverage, or this guy at least responsible for him at this point. He attacks his leverage. That's the key. That's the hold him where he's at. So he stems towards him, back up field off of that 3rd or 4th step, whatever it may be. Here, the route's going to be a little bit rounded at the top here. I don't have to watch it because you see how he's hopping into that step. Like he's hopping into it. He's not really aggressively throwing that. You really want to see him slam that foot into the ground, like throw it into the ground as hard as you can. Like you're trying to freaking, like if you had one shot in your life to snap a log in half, like you want to throw it into the ground. And that just comes by watching film. Like you got to know what it looks like. That's not what it looks like. He hops into it. His body's completely upright. So he's not really committing to that break. And whether that be, looks like he just tries to break right off of that. So there's no stop step, but you still want to see commitment to that break foot. So it's going to be rounded at the top. Let's see. Okay, so you can't really see, but it's definitely going to be rounded at the top. I can tell you regardless. So I like how the guy is in his hip pocket. He comes back to the ball. So good job attacking the ball. It almost slips through. So let's see his hands a little bit tighter here. They're a little bit separated, but at least he attacks the ball, looks it in. Catches it, but you got to be careful right there, just in case the guy was to get his hand on and punch that. It's probably going to slip out. So, and the guy is high, obviously, because he's trying to work that hand into there. Good job trying to wrap up by the corner. So he tried, but he shows that contact balance, that strength. Ducks his head, ducks under the block, switches his hand. Even like little stuff like this, you need to notice for receivers. There's a lot of guys coming from different directions where they can punch that ball out. So it comes a little bit low right there. That ball, and that's loose. If he does it all the time, breaking tackles, but this is kind of a situation that's not going to happen all the time. If you can hold it a little bit tighter, great. But I like how he automatically switches hands. You want that ball on that outside hip when you're running to the sideline. You don't want that near the guys. Makes it harder to reach for them. So good job switching it, keeping it relatively tight to his body. You'd like to see the tip of the ball tucked into the elbow, so it's a little bit loose right there, but he still holds it into the body. Breaks another arm tackle, tight rows up the sideline, touchdown. So I'll play that in full speed so you can get some appreciation for it. Like I said, good yak guy. I just don't know if it's going to happen all the time like it happened at Oklahoma. So the best part of that play is him attacking that ball for sure. You like to see the hands be a little bit cleaner of a catch. Nice switch of the hands. Throws his shoulder down, another arm tackle, breaks it, touchdown. Good play. Rocker, all right. Wait until I see. Judy's show is going to be fun because some of his route running, it's just ridiculous. Like I said, Lamb needs some work to me. Okay, so he's in the slot. I was looking where he was. So he's in the slot. So he's going to – the corner initially has outside leverage, and he's going to work – he has inside leverage. He's going to work to get outside leverage as the ball is snapped. And he just throws a slight rocker step. You see it right here. So he stems him. He stems at him initially. He's on the top of that, on the outside of that hash. Rocker step. So let me see what the corner's doing right here. He angles off right on that rocker step. So the rocker step is where he's going to throw that left foot in this situation. Throw that left foot in like he's breaking inside. And then off of that, you're going to go left, right, and then back out the direction of the first step that you take in that rocker. So rocker right here, the little head fake, outside, inside off the next foot, and break up field. So nice rocker step. Boom, boom. Gets the guy to react and jump inside. Looks like he swats away that hand or swipes away that hand, and he's open to the top of the screen in this Hoss concept. This is what I think the Pats were the ones who first called it the Hoss concept. It's almost like a pole concept, but a pole concept. This guy threatens vertical, and then sits at like 10 to 12, where a Hoss is like more of like a hitch and a seam. So Hoss concept, he's most likely open deep unless there's somebody over top of him. But regardless, nice little rocker step right there. Boom, right there. Good job defeating the hands, and he's open at this point. So good job. You're going to see some more examples of his route running that needs work, in my opinion, but that's a good play. It was very slight. It wasn't too dramatic, anything like that. He didn't throw his feet outside of his frame. Okay, he is at the top of the screen. Yeah, top of the screen. First, looks like another it kind of looks like blown defense, to be honest. Well, you have one man. He tries to pass it. Okay, so you have cover one hole. Man. Man. You have the whole player right here who drops out. Man coverage. Yeah, so I'm going to call it cover one hole, looks like. And he's just expecting this whole player to pick up that guy. That's why it looks like that. So you have Lamb on the top of the screen facing man. Comes off the line, not exploding or anything like that, which you'd like him to see him with actually, for this reason, it's relatively good. He stems out his guy with an altered route speed, which kind of gets him to be more comfortable in his back pedal, staying a little bit straight up. And then once he sees it outside, he just accelerates past them. Okay. QB throws the ball. Looks like they're a little bit off timing. It could be an inaccurate throw. It could be that he expected the quarterback expected Lamb to look for that back shoulder earlier. It could be Lamb expected, the vice versa, where he expected a little bit deeper. Regardless, it looks like he uses that push by again. When it's grainy like this, it's a little bit harder to see, but plants. Stop, break. Okay, so he gets his hips out relatively fast, or relatively good there. Uses the push by, I'm going to say. The ball is just a little too far outside, so decent route right there. Next play, Lamb, concentration hands. All right. So you have him in the slot to the top. And for the people who follow me on Twitter, you read the article as well. And you hear me refer to top three, 1, 2, 3. That's the easiest way to say it. If you want to start going okay, outside the Z, the outside slot, inside slot, you do all that too. The X, split end, whatever. I'm not going to try to get too fancy, but he's the inside slot right here, the number 3 on the top of the screen. Up the field, selling vertical with his shoulders, which he is going vertical. Seam route, bender route, whatever it may be. Where a seam, if it's a cover 3, is just going to continue vertical. If it's a cover 2, it's and he breaks inside on that post. People call it a bender route. So breaks up the field, can't see the rest of the route. He gets hit deep. Now, the thing that I would like to see here, like a guy who really attacks that ball, is not what he does here. You could see if the safety was to track this ball better and maybe close some distance on Lamb before he went up for this is most likely interception. In the NFL, I'm going to call this interception if he doesn't attack the ball. So, yeah, it looks pretty, to be honest. I don't want to just give him a positive for everything, for sure. And I have some criticism of him. I'm probably a little bit lower than him than some other people. I have a clear number 1. Judy is my clear number 1. Lamb is my number 2, but there's not a ton of separation between him and Ruggs for me. Or actually there is. It's definitely a clear number 1, clear number 2, clear number 3, but there's a bigger gap between him and Judy being number 1 than there is as Lamb and Ruggs being fighting for number 2 and number 3. So here, I would like to see him attack this ball more. You see he jumps up late and catches the ball, which, by the way, hits him in the face mask, so he needs to track that ball better. In the NFL, again, if the safeties are closer, he gets hit, and the ball is like this, and he only has the ass end of it, and it hits him in the face mask, he's going to drop that. So, better hands he needs to have, better technique, because these hands are wide, they're not together, they're not in that diamond catching formation you like to see with the overhand catches. And the safety, if you played that better and track the ball better, that's a pick instead of being what it is. So, yeah, it looks great. Okay, he caught it, but not good hand technique. It hits him in the face mask. He catches it. He's able to stay up and fight for an extra yard or two to get in. But overall, again, this works versus Iowa State. Does it work in the NFL? No, unless the safety's bad, to be honest. So some good, some bad, but good job getting him for the touchdown overall, I guess. So next play. Oh, by the way, I didn't bring it up in the beginning of the show. I was going to. Just an update. Been watching a lot of TV. There's really nothing to do. That's why, I look like a freaking chia pet. My barber's not open, all this stuff. Been watching some TV, watched Tiger King, which was weird, but addicting. Fiance puts on something the other night that's called Don't F with Cats. And I had no idea it was going to be. I was like, this is going to be stupid. And it turned out to be a really, really crazy type of show. So I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but just trust me. If you do trust me, watch one episode, give me 1 hour of your time, go watch Don't F with Cats. I don't want to say just in case kids are listening or whatever. So just give it a chance and let me know if you do watch it. If you have Twitter, let me know, DM me, whatever. If you want email me, like I said, email me, but just give it a try because I was like, this is going to be freaking stupid. And I watched, I watched all 3 hours, his 3 shows, 3 hours, 3 1-hour shows. And I watched all 3 hours right in a row. So top of the screen, number 1, he uses a split release where he's going to bring that foot back to even with his back foot. Some people will bring that front foot or the front foot all the way even to the back foot. Some people will bring the back foot halfway up to the front foot, and then the front foot halfway back to get even. To get even with that foot. Split release, usually they're both coming together. Get even is where one comes up to the other. It's like little differences, but I call them different things. So I would call this a split release. And like here, like the release is nothing special, to be honest. Like he does a split release and the guy goes to like jump jam him, which if you're going to do an aggressive jam, get tight to the line of scrimmage. Why are you trying to jam from 2 yards away where you're going to have to reach for the jam? You don't want to ever have to reach for the jam. So not a good job of the corner, but the split release, there's really nothing in here that threatens him, to be completely honest. Like he just drops that foot and releases outside. So there's really nothing great there. In my opinion, it's not great cornerback play because the corner in the NFL, they're going to get tighter and actually hit him, or they're just going to shuffle outside. And if he was a shuffle outside here and he had better technique, then he's going to squeeze him right to that sideline. So again, some improvement. I don't love that release. And I like, okay, he's dipping his shoulder out, but he's also, look how much he was at the bottom of the numbers. Now he's all the way tight to the sideline. NFL cornerback, they get their hand on you, they're going to squeeze you right out of bounds. They're going to take you completely out of that play. So it's an okay play, but it's overall, like I said, there's improvements. Like people call him the best route runner. No, he's not. He's a decent route runner. He definitely needs work. He's nowhere close to Judy. So up the sideline, breaks off or stop step with that right. But I can't. It's hard to see his feet. They both are wearing white shoes. That's gonna screw me up. But regardless, he stops with the right foot right there, throws it out. It looks like it's a pretty solid step. Looks like he commits to it relatively, and it looks like he uses a push by again. It's harder with this grainy type of view, but good break right there. He gets his hips out relatively fast on the stop. Looks again like he might be using a push by, but he's turning outside, so it's probably not a push by, to be honest. So an okay route. I think it's a relatively sharp break at the top. I like to be a little bit closer to evaluate that even a little bit closer. Concentration. Yeah, there's not much to break down on this one. I remember this one. Top of the screen. He runs a speed out. And the corner's bailing right away and inside. The route's not great. I had a whole argument with people about speed outs. Not a whole argument. I don't know if he even listens to the show or not, but whatever. And me and Marcus just talked about it. You don't want to lean into speed outs, and you still want to cut off your outside foot. The only difference between a speed out and like a square cut, depending on what kind of square cut you take, like, okay, you're going to take 2 stops, 1 stop. That's fine. It's whatever you're comfortable with if you're route running, but the only difference between a regular, you don't cut off different feet. Like I said, if you're running a 1-step, a break on a square cut, okay, if you're cutting to the outside, throw your left into the ground as your stop step, break off of your right, and then cut outside. Now with that speed out, the speed part of it is you don't take stop steps. So you're instead of taking that stop with the left, you're just going to, you might have to shorten your stride a little bit before you take that speed cut, but you break off of your right. You never break off of the inside foot. You just don't. So presses inside, gives himself some room outside. He gets a little shove right there, and then he breaks off of his – he does break off of his right foot, but and maybe it's because of the push. I'll give him a little bit of a pass here, but it's definitely not the sharpest break. You can see how rounded that is. And he's able to make the catch after this, but that's for different reasons. So it is a little bit rounded. You see like that foot's not really under his frame too well. That dry foot. Regardless, it's not a huge deal. And I think it alters him a little bit that this guy tries to reroute him a little bit. That linebacker underneath, DB underneath, whatever he is. Quarterback has not good mechanics there at all. Takes a bucket step. Doesn't really have a great base throwing that ball at all, and it winds up being short. The linebacker tips it, or DB tips it. Good concentration by Lamb to look the ball in and catch it, and then pick it up an extra yard or two. So good concentration by him. Again, the route could use a little bit of work, but I'll give him a little bit of pass because he did get rerouted a little bit. Terrible job by the quarterback. Terrible job by that linebacker. Yak. Okay, again. I think he's the bottom. Listen, and you look at a picture of DeAndre Hopkins. That is not, and I know he can grow and stuff like that. That is not DeAndre Hopkins. He's slender. He's not a very big guy. 6'2", 198 is really not that big. I'm 6 foot 180, 185, 190 is my heaviest. So, and obviously he's a lot more muscle than I am. He's a professional. He's going to be a professional athlete, but two more inches and me being another 10 plus pounds is really not a huge guy. So. DeAndre Hopkins is like 6'1", 215, 217. He's a beast. Like, he's a big dude. So I don't have the same body type, like, at all. Like, you need to be a big dude to be compared to DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think their game's the same. It's just not. So they hit him on a hitch to the bottom of the screen. And again, this is just his ability to find lanes and things like that it is really good. So outside leverage, he's trying to force him inside. The wide receiver picks up the block. He cuts inside, continues inside. He sees this guy in his peripheral vision coming over the top at a hard angle over the top. Cuts inside of him. Sees this guy coming down at a hard angle. He's gonna flatten his track out right here. So he flattens it out. Jumps over him. Nice little hurdle. Continues upfield, switches the ball into his right hand. Good job there, being aware of that. And is able to just break one more arm tackle and push through another to get into the end zone. So good job. Next. This is a play I love showing this stuff because I've seen multiple times in my couple of years of putting up film. And getting, I would hope progressively better. I went back probably a couple months ago and I looked at some of my original stuff. I was like, ugh, that's like it's gross to me now. It was good for me at the time, but you always got to get it better. And it's so funny. I was talking to Eric Turner from Cover One, if people know who that is, and we were talking about just it's a hard. It's kind of like a hard. You're between a rock and a hard place because you want to watch a lot of film to break down a lot of stuff for people to put out content, but it's a happy medium between that and watching more film to learn things because I don't know everything. Like if there's an offensive line clinic from McNally or something like that, like I can watch, or I get, somebody sends to me or whatever, I'll watch it. Like I'm not going to stop watching stuff because I stop learning and you're just stupid. So it's kind of like a funny place. Like do I have to watch film today? Should I break down the Sear film or should I watch an offensive line clinic for 2 hours? So top of the screen. I would like to see him a little bit more like he's standing pretty straight up, and that's a wasted movement right there. Bring that foot back, just drive off with the front foot anyway. So I don't love that release, to be completely honest. He could definitely get out of it with more tempo. Stems the corner inside. He just runs them off. Okay, so it's not a huge deal. He's just running them off. He knows it's going to be a run play. So this is what I was saying. So to the people who, and I've seen it, I don't know, I went to go talk about it. I went to a completely different topic that happens. Don't show me wide receiver blocking. Who cares about wide receiver blocking? Listen, one, it'll get you an extra 2, 3, 4, 5 yards. Or in this example, I'm about to show you a touchdown, an extra, how many yards? 30 yards. And it also shows me dedication to your team. He will drop his helmet sometimes and things like that if he doesn't get the ball, but he's also willing to block. if I was watching college film, college tape, college YouTube highlights, whatever this is, because it's not really film technically, it's broadcast angle. So college broadcast angle. If I see a wide receiver who is not blocking for his running back, for his quarterback, for his other receivers, how dedicated is he to the team? And what does that say about him? Is he going to be dedicated when he gets the big paycheck? Is he going to be dedicated when he's not getting, balls thrown at him, like that type of stuff? So it shows me dedication to your team, and it shows me, to be quite frankly, cover your kids' ears. It shows me you're not a pussy. Like, I'm sorry to say that, but no, I'm not actually, because when I was playing football, if you see wide receivers not blocking because they didn't get the ball, they got called out. Like, just block. Don't be a little whatever. So runs his guy up the field to run the corner to get him out of the play. Blocks him. He knows the running back's angle to the outside. He's going to just drop his foot right there, drop his shoulder into him. Good play. Now, if he didn't do that, you're going to question him. How dedicated are you? Are you a pansy? I'll say. So good job dropping his shoulder. And listen, if he didn't do this, he cuts this guy off, whether it be he has to break the tackle, slow down, jump cut inside. He has inside pursuit. He probably gets tackled. So because he does that, he gets an extra 25 yards or so, 20 yards, whatever you want to call it, for a touchdown. Bad job of that guy right there. But still, that's the reason that matters. So you have people on Twitter, don't show me wide receiver blocking. Who cares? Listen, if you don't care about wide receiver blocking, your standing to me goes downward trend. That matters. It does matter. So that's why I show that. So good job by him. Bring up the next play. Next play, drag past sticks. He's on the bottom. Again, just some slight criticism. He's not very ready in the stance right here. His hands are low, which is not a huge deal. Off guys, off coverage, soft press. You'd like to see them more ready, just like an offensive lineman. And you'd like to see some more knee bend here. They're most likely going to see some recoil. See, that's wasted movement. And you're going to line up like this, but you want to reduce that recoil right there. So all of that is wasted movement. So it takes an extra half a second to get out of his stance. Corner with inside leverage. He gives him a dead leg right here. This is what I call a dead leg. So people say like this is extending your one step, as they say. So you're going to bring that one step up, and then you're going to just kind of take just how do I even say that? Like movement after movement with that front foot at first backwards. So they call it a dead leg. So dead legs them, and it allows you to square them up. It allows you for a break. Really, you're really doing it to break inside. Like you're not gonna dead leg and cut the opposite way of your front foot. So some people say it allows for a break in either direction. I don't agree with that. Short striding and foot firing does that, but a dead leg is more to just kind of lull them to sleep and confuse him, where it's not going to work versus all NFL DBs because his hips are the way his feet are pointed. You're going to guess more inside. For him to cut outside right here and pass that up front foot, it's over top of his hips. It's not going to be as easy to cut outside right here. So still squares him up with a dead leg. So you keep that front foot stays in front after the initial one step. So extends the one step, dead leg. Stab outside with a head fake, sled head fake. Runs the slant, which he flattens out. If you want to call it like a deeper drag, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. I'm not going to get crazy about that stuff. He runs it past the sticks though. I like how he's past the sticks. He's a yard behind it. Again, we criticized Perryman for running it too short last week. So could improve his hands right here. Again, the hands are wide. So this is what I'm saying. Like, okay, he has great hands. Does he have great hands? And there's drops I'm not going to just put on. I'm not going to go to his drops, which there's 3, 4, 5 of them that I saw, at least 3 or 4 of them. But I want to see clean hand catches. Like we're watching that Perryman film. Remember we brought up me and Marcus again, which if you didn't watch that, go back. It's in the archives. We're talking about the new Jets receiver with an NFL DB or ex-NFL DB. You want to catch that tip of the ball. You don't want to catch the back end of it or anything like that. And this slips through his hands, and it looks like it hits him in the face mask or the chest again, and he catches it. So is that great hands? Not to me. I want to see that diamond. I want to see him catch the tip of that ball. You don't want it to squirt through your hands, hit your chest. Now it's loose. Now it bounces off your chest. Now you get hit. You don't have it full control, but now it's on the ground. Catch the initial part of that ball. And if it does slip through a little bit because it's fast velocity, it slips through a little bit and you catch the mid portion of the ball. But you don't want to be catching the end of the ball or let it hit you in the chest. That's when you get hit and things pop out. It hits you in the chest, it pops out, whatever it may be. So good. I'm okay with the route right there. Catches the ball, not a clean catch. He knows that the guy is going to be working most likely over top because they don't want to break inside, and he's going to be working at a hard angle to try to catch up. Breaks outside. So good job just knowing where the guy is. Hand on the ground to maintain balance. Knee on the ground, which technically in college isn't that call him down. I guess so, right? So some college rules, I'm like, did they really do that in college? Like, I watch college enough, but not like the NFL. So, but once your knee is down in college, I think the play is done. Might sound stupid for even saying that, but I'm blanking out right now. So, good job overall right there. Not a ton of yak, but let's go to the next play. Meh route. Okay. That's always my wording, meh. Like, I'm like, it's not terrible. It's not great. Let's see. Off man. Again, here, to me, and we'll break it down more, there's not much in the stem that he does. The guy's playing inside leverage. He stems at him. And it breaks out. So like he stems at him for 1, 2, 2.5 steps, 3 steps, and breaks outside. So the corner is open right here. So if anything, like, okay, maybe throw some more work in here. Continue to stem him outside or continue to stem him inside. But if you don't want to get too far inside because it's going to mess up your time with the quarterback, stem outside. Now shift back inside. Make him speed turn right here. Make him flip his hips. Give him a rocker. Plant off of this foot, look like you're cutting inside, and then plant off the next step with the right and get back outside. But he doesn't do much with the stem right here. He just takes it pretty much right outside after a 3-step stem inside. So he doesn't do much right here. And my problem with this too is you see how far he bows it outside. He's at when he starts to cut outside, he's like the middle of the numbers. If anything right here, if you're gonna get this outside, get tight to him. If you're getting a back shoulder fade, a vertical, get tight to him. Work your body past him, stack him if you can. Obviously, if you can't, then you're going to want to push into him. Hold your line, and then that gives the quarterback much more room on the sideline right here to throw the ball for you to work to the ball, whatever it may be. But when you're going to bow out like this, receivers, the good guys in the NFL who are faster, are going to get their hip into you and just drive you right out of bounds if they're good. Or they're going to, they'll drive you. Even if they don't drive you right out of bounds, which is hard from this position, I'm maybe being a little bit dramatic right there. They're going to play through. They're going to make you tired to the sideline, and it's going to be a lot harder to throw for your quarterback and a lot harder to catch for you. So he bows that way too far outside for me, and he doesn't do much of this route stem. That's my feelings on that route. Now, and then here, because he doesn't really do much. And this is not called pass interference on the defender. It's actually called on Lamb because he keeps extending the hand into the shoulder and tries to push him away. So it's actually PI on Lamb right here, but there's not a lot of work into that route stem. So I don't love that route. Definitely. Smart yak. Okay. Is this the speed out? Let's see if this is speed out. No, I was wrong. Okay. Stems outside. Let's make a bender or seam route, whatever you want to call it. Goes outside, which widens this guy out, the DB. Bends it back inside. Okay, I'm okay with that catch. See, here his hands are definitely tighter, and he catches the tip of the ball. Better catch. Now, this is like you said, he's a smart player in terms of his yak and how he sets up his yak. He knows that this corner, because he's going to break inside, and the corner's going to be breaking downhill and towards him. He's most likely because he's coming out that angle, going to be working to his inside shoulder. Even though you would want to see that DB attack the outside shoulder, so he has to come into inside pursuit. So not a good job by the safety, DB, whatever he is, off man, and good job by Lamb knowing that. And this is impressive. The foot that he lands with, he drives off of. So nice lower body flexibility, power off of the legs. to do that. That's not necessarily the easiest thing to be able to break on the same leg you're landing on that's landing 197 pounds, especially when he's a little bit lanky. Again, he's not a huge body frame. I don't agree with the DeAndre Hopkins thing. So catches the ball, breaks outside, and he's gonna accelerate for a touchdown, I believe here. He's got decent speed. Listen, 4.5. Don't get obviously if a guy's a 4.2, great. But don't get wrapped up like, oh, he can't be a good receiver. He runs a 4.5. You know who runs like a 4.5-ish type speed? Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Michael Thomas, didn't he set the receptions record last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was? He runs like a 4.5 plus. DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion, the best receiver in the NFL, runs a 4.5 plus. So don't get wrapped up into it. Obviously, speed is nice, but it's not a necessity. I'll play in full speed for you. It's impressive for him to land off of that foot right there and break outside that same foot. Good job by him. Good job knowing he'll be at a hard angle inside in terms of the pursuit of the over the top defensive back. 15 or a little bit more than halfway through. Got 28 plays. All right, lull. Again, like this is not going to happen in the NFL. It really shouldn't, at least, but. DB and off coverage, which again in the red zone, it's not bad. If anything in the red zone, you want as a DB, you want the guy to work outside of you, but you don't want to automatically backpedal. Like, don't give him this much room. Stay over the top. So he stems. I mean, he really does not want to get beat inside, but he's just not ready. Look at when you're angling your hips off like that. Look at all that space he has. He has 4 or 5 yards on him, 5 yards on him of space. And his hips are open. This is not hard for Lamb. So good job stemming him inside. And he's not even running a hard route. Like, that's way too easy. He doesn't really do much there. He stems him inside. His shoulders are upright. He's not exploding out of his break. Like, that's not even a good, like, honestly, like, for how that's not a good route right there, because he's not exploding off of that, and his drive foot is still outside of his frame and he's leaning on it. Like, you're not going to create a lot of drive off of that drive foot when your body is leaning into that and it's outside of your frame. You'll see Judy. There's times where Judy is making a 180-degree cut and his drive foot is under his frame better than that. So I would like to see a crisper route right here. I want to see him take a play off. So I'd like to see him really throw that foot out there a little bit more and explode off of it. Maybe more in front. Not too much in front of his body. I don't think it's in bad positioning, but he really needs to explode off of that and work that drive foot, so it's not outside of his frame. So it's not even a good route. The corner just gives it to him, and he just tracks it. Easy touchdown. Any hands catch, and he catches it with the body more. He cradles it. So again, even if he's beat this bad, an NFL DB who's faster than this is going to play through his hands right here. And just that quarter of a second, that DB is going to swat it out. So he doesn't set it up very well, to be honest. I'm not impressed with that play, but it's a touchdown. He alters him with some altered route speed where he's a little bit slower, but exploding in and out of that break. Don't get lazy with your breaks right there. Versus weak tackle, he's the inside slot, outside slot, inside slot number 3. Same type of route we saw from before. Bends it inside. Quarterback throws the ball. Here to your chest, you want to see him extend it. When it's like to that belly button crotch area, it's a hard place unless you're going to drop your hips and attack the ball like we saw Perriman do. You can catch it underhand. But when it's like your rib cage above, you want to see him extend to the ball. So I like to see him extend for the ball right here instead of catching it with his body. Again, hands wide, and he catches it with his body. But the cornerback comes he's not able to tackle him, not arm tackling him, but he ends up, did he trip over Lamb's foot right here? I don't know if he trips over Lamb's foot, but at this point, unless you wrap him up and like kind of, I forget what the tackle's called, when you're going to basically wrap your arms around his hips and just drop your weight and try to spin him. He looks like he trips and he's not able to tackle him. Again, good balance by him, good lower body strength to be able to maintain his balance and get off of that tackle. Works upfield, and it's a touchdown. He's not even running anymore. So Good job by him. Not the best tackle. I'll say he trips, to be honest, just based on what I saw there. 17. Yak speed out. Okay, so again, it's like me and Marcus talked about this. So right here, if you're a DB, are you tipped off that he's running outside? I think so. His foot's pointed out that way. He's leaning that way. A good NFL defensive back, as soon as they see this, they're breaking. This step, they're breaking, and they would be more over top right here too. And this DB even sees it, to be honest. Like he starts to see it, and he breaks. Maybe it's a quarter of a second too late, but he breaks on it. Again, NFL DB makes that tackle. He's going to drop. He's going to wrap up at the hips. He's going to do whatever he has to do. Most likely, NFL DB is going to put their helmet across his back right there. So if he is break the tackle, he has to come inside, but he's going to put his hat across his back right there, wrap him up and bring him down. So this would be in the NFL a 3-yard route, if even so, because they would break on it quicker and get there quicker. But he's leaning. I would like to see him stem more up. If you have to alter your stride to shorten your stride to allow for easier break to reduce some speed, instead of going 100% on your route, you go 90, 85. Don't lean into it, and then just break. These routes, these speed outs that people are getting taught, where you're kind of almost breaking into the speed out off your left foot or your outside foot, is not proper. And again, me and Marcus talked about it, former NFL DB. That's not what you want to do. You want to time it off of that right foot. So maybe it's 1, 2, 3, fourth step on your right foot. Extend it. This foot's a little bit far outside of his frame. It's a little bit far outside of his frame, and again, it's rounded. That is not what you want to see. This foot wants to be under his frame to drive him forward. That's not the best footwork route running. So he really leans into it, catches the ball. Good job peeking inside and breaking outside, breaking an arm tackle, and being able to run forward for. Oh, okay. So yeah, he continues this. So it looks great. In the NFL, this is a 3-yard route. So it's projection versus what you're just seeing. I don't think this goes for more than 3 yards in the NFL, but breaks the tackle. I like this part of it. I like how he just kind of raises that knee. He slows the DB down. You see the DB's coming a little bit faster and it slows him down a little bit. Even the DB, get in your high horse right there a little bit, man. What are you doing? If I was a coach and I saw that, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? You have the DB behind you, literally move, dude, trying to push you on the back. You have your guy throw you over because you're just hesitating so much. Get your ass outside. Damn, bad DB right there. Little hesitation, continues at the sideline. So I don't like the end of this play. Remember this. Okay, so you have the guy another high angle, puts on the brakes, spins inside of that, sees another guy coming. I think he breaks inside of that too. Breaks, jumps inside of that. What I don't like here is just this little part at the end. So good job breaking 3 tackles right here and getting inside. Finish the play. Continue to sprint. You can see his shoulders come up a little bit. He slows down his stride a little bit, and he starts looking like he's going to get in a touchdown. I think that's what happens personally. I'll play it in full speed so you can see it instead of slow motion. So he has a jets on, breaks inside, spin, awesome. Jets on. Breaks inside again, and it looks like he slows up and looks back right there. He gets tackled. Isn't that like the who was that? Someone will message me that. Sammy Watkins, right? Was Sammy Watkins that Bills game? They got a touchdown. Salim Hakeem was on defense for Rex Ryan, and Sammy was waving or doing whatever, and then he got tackled at the 2-yard line. Strong hands, not afraid. All right, so he runs like a deep over right here. All right, so I don't know if it was the ref who screwed him up here, which ref gets more depth right here. There's a guy running right at you. What he needs to do on this deep over, he drops his shoulder versus that guy. I like to see him avoid this guy better, because within those 5 yards, you're able to get contacted, and drops his shoulder into him. This throws off his timing. So I would like to see him avoid this better, to be completely honest. There's a little bit of a criticism. Avoid that better. Gets popped. The good thing about CD though is he's not afraid to go over the middle. He's not afraid to get rocked. He does an alligator arm stuff, so he's going to jump up. Decent hands catch. The hands are a little bit wide. It hits him in the face. He just catches the end of that ball. At least the right hand, just on the end of that ball. So better. He needs better hand technique when he's catching balls. His hands are too wide. In the NFL, again, it's a game of inches. If a guy hits you here, you're probably not going to hold on to that ball unless your hand strength is ridiculous. So, you see how it comes loose a little bit right there? The ball is like not really secure in his hands. As soon as he catches this, it's really not. He doesn't have the best hand position. If he did have better hand position, he caught the tip of the ball. I'd like to see him as he's going to the ground tuck it, because that almost knocks the ball loose. He is able to hold on to it, but again, I like that he's going up between 3 defenders, knows he's probably going to take a shot in the ribs, takes that shot, takes another shot, and holds on to the ball. So he could improve, but I like his balls there. So 9 or 19. 9 route. All right, so you have some. It's kind of like skipping here. Again, this is not really doing much like that. This is not threatening. Does that look threatening? It's not threatening. So I don't love that release. And it ends up not being a good route. Obviously, I put meh. So needs to do more right here, not just this. Upright. NFL DB might get into your chest right here. You're upright. He's kind of just like skipping a little bit. Plants off the right, stabs inside, gets to the outside, bows it a little bit outside. Again, he starts working from the bottom of the numbers, and he's way far outside of the 30 right there. He's like another 2 yards, he bows it. So not the best route. The next play. All right. Play 20 of 28. Again, we have 28 plays coming of Judy, and then we have I think 15 plays of Lamb. I'm not Lamb of Ruggs, which is gonna be a shorter review. 15 plays of Lamb, making like 30 minutes. It's make a 30-minute quick show on Thursday, and then Chase on like 28 plays, I think, as well. So top of the screen. No, like hop step right there, where he's closing ground with the right, and then still plants off of the right while raising his left foot. So it's kind of like it's lulling the cornerback a little bit to sleep, but like a hop release, gets onto his toes. So I don't think it's a terrible release. He's not really stemming towards him. The guy is off coverage, so these guys are just they're playing without their hands. Like you're taking why don't they just play with their hands behind their back at this point? Some of these corners in college, I don't understand what the point of this is. If you're going to play off, you're not going to get your hands on, then play freaking off 7 to 9 yards, take a read step or two, read the quarterback's drop. So if you see the quarterback takes, what does he take? Snaps the ball and he's looking right at him. So if he was to play off and he sees this 1, 2, 3 step drop, he knows that a shorter route's coming and he can drive outside of it. But if you're playing in no man's land, 2 yards off and you're not going to get your hands on, what's the point? Just play with no hands at that point. You're not using a huge part of what you're supposed to be doing as a cornerback. So little hop step. There's not much of this release. It's not a great corner, to be completely honest. Now the route break is what I want to see cleaned up. For me, that foot is too far outside of his frame. That break foot, BREAK, breaks to the outside. So you see that's really far outside of his frame. I would say that's a little bit tighter to him, and that's why his drive foot. So you have the break foot, and little toe drag right there, which slows him down. Again, see how this is not generating a lot of power. So good ankle flexibility right there from his left foot, but you want to see that drive foot as much under the frame as you can. So this is too far outside of his frame, which leads to that being outside of his frame because he's not really slowing down his momentum. Again, a little bit too far for me. Dry foot outside of his frame, good flexibility though, and gets around. He just doesn't see the ball, so he can improve on some stuff there again. 21, yak vision. Again, a lot of the really good plays I'm showing are like these like yak type plays, which how much does that translate? I think he can go for the ball well. Like he has some good body control and things like that. But a lot of these catches I'm showing you, he's catching the midsection of the ball, the end of the ball, or it's hitting him in the chest or the face. Yeah, against the NFL DB, you better be catching the tip of that ball. And again, he's a little bit lanky, so we'll see how it works out. And again, this is why he's not my number one. They run this is what I call like a shield screen, where you're gonna stem up for like a step and then work back to the line of scrimmage, work back to the quarterback, and guys are gonna pull out for you. That's what I call a shield. So catches it, sees the defender from the inside, little jump cut right there, a little jump cut, gets around him, continues to the outside and down the line of scrimmage, sees that corner plant hard outside, sees an inside track, avoids that guy, continues upfield, jumps inside of this guy, so he slows down, sees the guy again taking a really high angle, too high of an angle, jumps inside of him, breaks that arm tackle, and is able to run it for a touchdown. I'll play it in full speed so you can appreciate it. So good play. Again, in the NFL, are they missing all these tackles? You better hope not. At least for that defensive meeting room, you better hope not. If you're missing tackle like that on Greg Williams' defense, you better watch out that Monday or even that day after you're in the locker room. So play 22. He's in the slot. Okay, so I'm not loving the route stem. He's coming off like 85. So it's good in terms of him altering his speed. He comes off with his shoulders down, but then his shoulders come up. So he's running at an altered pace right here. He's not running fast. And then once he breaks outside, he kicks in the higher gear. So you can see it's a little bit slower here. And then he breaks outside and he turns it up a little bit. Maybe he could do more with his route stem. I would like to see him stem inside a little bit, rock or something. Because this corner, if he was athletic and he was more ready for that break, now maybe, now that route speed, that 85% route speed, 90% route speed, gets the corner to stand upright a little bit and not expect him to come into full speed, or the corner thinks he has him, but there could still be more work done here. So kicks him to full speed to the outside. He most likely looks back to the quarterback right here, and he sees the quarterback's not loading up the throw, or maybe he's about to look at him, but he's not getting the ball right here, so he continues up the field. I really like how he initiates contact right here. So he's bowing it out, but he doesn't want to get squeezed to the sideline right here. So he's going to work back to the defender, the defensive back, get his hand into him to create that pressure, and then make the catch. So again, if he just continues to the outside right here, he gets in the DB gets into his hip pocket. It's a harder throw. It's a harder catch. But good job of coming back into him to initiate that contact, then find the ball and go up and get it. Now, with the catch, it's not the cleanest catch, but there's a reason for that. He goes like to box him out. Good job, keeping his body inside and extending to the ball. Now, he's going to bring his left hand up, but you can see it gets knocked down by the DB's left hand. So the left knocks down the left, and it makes it a little bit harder of a catch because now he can't bring that hand up to secure the ball. So it hits him kind of in the palm and rolls down to his forearm. But good job bringing it to his shoulder and being able to catch that. And then after he catches it, he goes to the ground and he's gonna spin his body right here and tuck it in his right, so he's not landing on the arm. Because if he was to, let's say, if he was just to go down and have that in his left, the ground pops the ball out. But good job. You want to roll away from it, and you can see he's gonna make an effort to roll away from it, and he's gonna land on his left side right here. I can guarantee it, even though the play doesn't go to there. So, or on his back if he turns that far. But you don't want to land. You don't want to land on the arm that you're catching the ball, because that's going to pop it out. The ground's going to force it out. You don't want to see that. Next play, 23. All right. Bottom of the screen. Like a quasi split release. Not really coming to even. He's just bringing that foot back. So it's kind of a wasted movement, to be honest. There's not really much he's doing. If you want to start with your left foot forward, then start with your left foot forward. I think a quasi split. So this is, you can call this like a dead leg or a shuffle, like as he gets his feet, like as he gets to the guy. So one step, the right foot stays back, and a little bit of a crossover. So you can call this a dead leg. You can call this a shuffle release. It looks like he works from the top of the numbers a little bit down. So I would call that more of a shuffle release. So shuffle release, crossover, plants hard off to the right. This is what I call it when it's a crossover. When it's the 1-2. 1-2. So he's giving the illusion that he's breaking outside with the head fake, then plants off of that left foot, that outside foot, and then he continues to work up. Like, this is kind of a weird route where he probably can just cross in now, but he sees the corner not reacting, I guess, and stems him up a little bit more upfield. So it's kind of a weirder route break, but it's decent. Like I said, with the shuffle release, with the crossover, but after that crossover, he continues upfield and gives him like another stab outside and breaks in, whatever. Quarterback throws the ball, which he can step into. He doesn't. One is Hurts, right? And Hurts just misses him. So it should be a touchdown right there. So decent release. The cornerback doesn't really do much again. A lot of these cornerbacks are playing with their hands behind their back in college, which is frustrating to watch. Not if you're an Oklahoma fan, but okay. So there's like so many different types of like outbreaks. Like you have circus routes, which are like 10 to 12 yards. People call a circus route a blaze out. Some people call a stem out. Some people call a stem out a Colorado out. There's whips. There's jerks. There's pivots. This is a whip to me because of how he sets it up, where he's running really flat right here. Now, if he was to run less flat and break outside, then I would call it either, because it's short, I'd probably call it a Colorado. But regardless, I'm calling this a whip, and I don't like this whip because he turns his hips back and he has to fight his hips here. So if you're going to run the whip and you're going to work down the line of scrimmage and get flat right there, what I would like to see is the right foot. I would like to see him get his hips more a little bit turned to the right a little bit. I would like to see the right foot be the stop step. So the right foot instead of the left foot right here. And then once you throw that right, you're gonna start to pivot off of it, break off of the left, off of the instep of the left, and then break outside. But what he does here is he stops off to the left. So he stops off of the left, but he's not really committing like fully to it, like he is, but just at a weird angle. So it's not really slowing him down. And then he has to take he takes like that stop step, break step. So it takes him 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to get out of that route because he's fighting against his hips. Like he's turning against his hips right here. So again, I would like to see right foot, really commit to it. And now your left comes over as you rotate your hips, you plant that left hard, and you get outside in 2 steps instead of 4. Maybe it's 3, but it's not 4. It wouldn't be 4 here. So it's a weird. Now if it was like they were coaching us like a blaze where it's going to work like that, I don't know. But regardless, it's not a great break. So really throw yourself over that foot. And his eyes, and the thing about like committing to breaks like this, when it's like a really, really sharp, like 180-degree step, like 3 steps into the break, they're looking at their feet until they break. I'll show that at a different time. I'll have an example of it. So he wants to be looking at his feet because your shoulders still want to be over your toes right here, over your toes, and you want to see his body still down right here and looking at that toe, but his eyes are coming out of his break too fast right here. He's looking out of it before he's even breaking. So he doesn't get out of this break as quick as he should. For me, 25, 4 plays left. All right. Sorry, you guys are hearing my itch my nose. Scratch my nose, whatever you want to call it. Top of the screen. He stems towards the corner. Again, there's more that could be done here. Well, if he's coached to run a 10-yard out or a comeback, whatever it is, then it's fine. The guy's giving him so much room. So I'm not going to kill him for that. The break. Hold on. I'm going to have to count those real quick. 1, 2, 3. It's rounded. You see all of that right there? That's rounded. So his knees are over his toes, but I would like to see him slam that foot into the ground a little bit more. Hold on. He does slam it. I would like to see him get his knees over his toes a little bit more right there. And that right foot. It's really not the left foot I think is bad right there. I think it's the right foot. It's not really slammed into it. For me, just watching like a good amount of routes, and like I think receivers and corners and probably maybe offensive line are the most I know about. It's not the left foot that's the problem right there. I think it's the lack of aggressiveness from the right foot. So if that right foot's going to be a stop step, if you're going to take a two-step break or two stop steps to get out of that route, commit to both stop steps. There's not every route's obviously not a one-step stop. So 1, 2, it looks like he's leaning out of that a little bit before. See how he's kind of like he's not committed to that stop step right there. Like that step's not really doing much. He's already leaning out of it and setting back. So one or that one stop step, the first one to the left, he commits to it. But then this one, he kind of he's leaning out of it a little bit too early. So I like to see him commit, even commit to that third and then break. Because when you start to break outside off of that left foot, you're not going to generate a lot off your left foot when you're cutting to the outside. It's just not how it works. You need to drive off the other foot. So I would almost like to see him throw the right foot out first, left foot out, then break off of that right foot. But he starts to break off of his left, which really doesn't do much, and then the right comes out to break off of it. Then it's his drive step. So in my opinion, because of the footwork here and how he breaks it, this is where I talk about he has a wasted step in the top of his route. That left foot's a wasted step. There's no really need for that. If he was to stop off of his right, then the left, then break off of the right, and then that left becomes the drive where he wastes that extra step, and then it's rounded. That's just how I've been taught. Or I learned. I taught myself. Which, by the way, if you're trying to get into football, like I think having a good baseline knowledge is good. But if you're going to try to like really get into it, it takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours for years to know a good amount, in my opinion. So, top of the screen right here, we just see his legs. Looks like he's running like a deep over, and he uses stretch release. So when that back foot comes outside, and you're going to plant hard and drive off the inside, that's called a stretch release. That's to get him to react outside. Corner tries to one-hand jam him and get inside. Oh, yeah, okay. So the corner wants to maintain his outside leverage, even though he's not inside, which is kind of weird. If I'm the DB coach here and he's playing a cover 2 and he's a cloud corner, get to the outside and reroute him to the inside. Get your hands on him, but you don't want to be outside or inside leverage, because if he was to beat you outside, now the safeties have to work all the way to the over top. You want to see him with outside leverage if he's that cloud corner. But regardless, stretch release, gets to the inside. He's going to alter his route right here. So like he comes out with an altered speed, slow, breaks inside, drops his hips, and gets inside of that punch. I'm not sure if he wipes it. It looks like he swats away that hand right there. Yeah, he swats away that hand right there. So good job swatting away the hand. I like the stretch release right here. I like him altering his route speed and getting inside, breaking inside hard. Works down the field in the over. Catches the ball. Breaks down, knows that guy's going to come over top. Just good awareness. Like, I don't know if he sees this guy or if he just has that innate ability. Breaks down, jumps away from him, and works for an extra, half a yard or something like that. But still pretty nice. So there's good and bad there. Last 2 plays. Top of the screen, soft press, inside leverage. Oh, this is not bad. So this is what I call he walks it up on him. He's just high and he's literally just walking up on him. So like walk it out, walk it up, whatever you want to call it. He walks it up to get on his toes. Again, could he be more aggressive with his break? For sure. He's not really generating a lot of power right here. He's not really committing to it. He's kind of just, it's, I don't want to call it, it's not a lazy route, but he could definitely do more to generate more sharpness inside. You really throw that break foot into the ground and like throw out a outside, like a head fake and get into that route. But here it's not very, very aggressive. It's just, I just want to see him be more powerful here, more aggressive right here, break inside. On the slant, breaks inside, catches the ball, touchdown. So he walks it out, but again, the only problem I have with it is the top of it. I'll just see a little bit more aggression right there. He gives him a little hesitation. He pumps his arms. And the good thing about the break too is like people talk like the elbow jam. When you're breaking inside, you want to take that. If you're breaking inside off of your left foot, you want to take that arm of the opposite foot you're cutting off of and throw that backwards because it's turning your momentum. So you're breaking while throwing that arm backwards, which turns your hips. So they call it the elbow jam. So good job with the elbow, throwing that hand back right there as he cuts, turns his hips. But I think there could be more aggression with the feet right there, more power through the feet. Catches the ball, touchdown. Last play. Attack blind spot. I don't know if he attacks the blind spot super well here, but I guess he does a little bit. The bottom of the screen, sorry. Again, could he be more ready at the snap right here? Let's see. Yeah, I think he'd be more ready at the snap. He's standing pretty straight up right there. Again, just a little bit lower in the stance. It reduces that recoil. Cornerback is with inside leverage. He stems towards him. Okay, so he stems. The DB plays this weird. He stems towards him, but he flips his hips outside. He works to the blind spot. So he's stemming him inside, cuts it back upfield. He used like a little rock right here, I think. No, maybe not. 1, 2. Maybe it's a tiny bit of a rocker. He breaks off the right to the outside and back inside. So it's almost like a rocker in the middle of that. Attacks his blind spot where he can't see. And then cuts outside on the comeback. So it's a deep comeback right here. So that left foot, I can't tell if it steps on his foot. I would screw up his foot, his feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's some dead time again. So the top of his routes he could use work on. To me, what I'm seeing here, I've watched a couple more times just to see exactly what I want to say. It looks like he's not committing to that. Like it looks like it might be he might be over his toes a little bit, but it looks like he doesn't really slam into the ground. Like he does, but trust me, it's not completely slammed into the ground. And he looks like he's leaning out of it a little bit. Like where if I had a view right behind him, his hips and his upper body are leaning to the left while that's in front of him to the right. So it looks like he's leaning out a little bit. So commit, and then break. I don't want to see break and then try to cut off that inside foot, like as your break foot. So if anything, stop step, then break. So he kind of stop step, break, drive. See what I'm saying? It's a little bit of a wasted step. If you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, hopefully you are. If you're not, I'll try to keep running you through it. So he's leaning a little bit out of it. I don't want to see his hips turning off of that left foot right there. I want to see that, like I said, break, then break off of that. Or sorry. I want to see, this is how I should say it. I don't know if I was screwing that up. I want to see stop, break. He does stop, break, drive. You want to see stop, break, drive. And that drive, that second drive step, like that false step that he's taking, you see it's outside his frame a little bit, and it's not easy to work your hips over that when it's in front of you. And that's why it's rounded. There's some dead time, and it takes some more steps right here because he's not committing fully to the breaks, and the feet are a little bit off. Is able to catch the ball, turn up field. How many yards does he get here? Okay, so this is a play in the NFL. I probably just penetrate through that and call it dead because he does run back and he could lose a couple of yards. He doesn't, but you'd still probably want to see him just knife through those guys and maybe get to the 45 instead of hopping back and probably losing 2-3 yards overall in terms of what he could have gotten. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next show, I'm breaking down the route running technician and Judy Lamb and Jerry Judy. After that, that's coming on Tuesday. Then we have Ruggs on Thursday. Then we have Chase on Saturday, and then we have the mailbag. Like I said, the mailbag. Was it Joe Blewett at jetsxfactor.com. If not, if you don't have, I think everybody has an email. Tweet me. Hey, question for the mailbag show. Again, I'd appreciate it. I want to be more of a fun show. Again, get serious, like 4-3 versus 3-4. What positions should they address? Who do you like? Like, we got questions about receivers in the second round. The switch to more of a 4-3. If you want to ask about hot dog toppings and burgers and medium rare or rare type of guy, like I want those type of questions. So let's have some fun. Tweet at me those questions, and then myself and Kyle Smith. For the people who don't know Kyle Smith, you're going to see he's a really better spoken. He's well spoken. He's better spoken than I am. I stutter more and trip up my words, where he's a little bit more calm and well spoken. He has a softer tone of voice, and he can explain things really well. Where I'm more aggressive and stutter over my words and try to get too many thoughts out at once. But he's a smart Jets fan, so you guys will enjoy him if you don't know him. I'm sure a lot of people who listen to the show already know Kyle Smith. So send questions for both of us. You can ask him, hey, Kyle, why being an ass? Get a podcast back rolling, or jump on with Joe more. I'm fine with that question. So do that. I will see you guys on Twitter. I'll be posting up Ruggs probably tomorrow, maybe a play or two tonight. And that's about it. And 12 days into the draft. Get excited. Follow along with the show. Again, the reviews are appreciated. Since I've been asking, I got the one review, 5-star review. And I got the 2 other 5 stars. I'm at 48 right now. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. That's the only way I see your name, is if you leave the review. I'll choose a random person to get a free subscription for life to Jets X Factor, which, listen, even if you just want to get numbers, we have a ridiculous amount of numbers. You can click on Nania's numbers, or you can get my full podcast watchable with that. You can get a bunch of things. So I'll give one of those away for free. Maybe at like 100, we'll give like a helmet or something like that. But the reviews are appreciated. Like I said, it gets me out to more people. It helps more people see it. The site gets more revenue. We upgrade computers. We upgrade a lot of stuff. We upgrade the site. We add more writers, whatever it may be. Right now, it's really just it's me, Mike, and Sabo, and I don't know how much more we need in that, but we'll see in the future. Appreciate you guys following along, and like I said, I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you in 2 days.